Welcome to this press conference. It's called Inner Resilience in the Times of Climate Emergency, and it's hosted by the Brahma Kumaris. We will present an interfaith view on inner resilience in our present human emergency. My name is Sonja Olsson. I'm from the Brahma Kumaris and will be facilitating this press conference. Today, I have with me Sister Jenti and Golo Pils from the Brahma Kumaris and Bishop Philip Huggins from the Anglican Church, and you're most welcome. When faced with personal or global emergencies, we are forced to revise our own way of thinking and lifestyle. In the midst of this change lies an opportunity to develop inner resilience and resources needed to ensure a common future. Addressing this topic, we will start with Golo Pils. He's the energy advisor to the Brahma Kumaris and has been setting up India One solar thermal power plant. Since the early 90s, he played a key role in establishing Brahma Kumaris as one of the major users of renewable energies in India. And he will give an overview of Brahma Kumaris' activity in this field. Welcome, Golo.
Yes, thank you very much, Sonja. We all are aware that we have to increase our resilience and our action. The ambitions in this conference are yet not enough to meet the target to bring down the emissions. And more than 10 years ago, the Brahma Kumaris has created an environmental initiative, and we are participating since Copenhagen in all the climate conferences. We are advocating a twofold approach. One is we should act good, but one is also we should change on the inside, because inner world and our actions are interconnected. And we have the 10 ways to change the world: live simple, empower yourself, open the heart. But we also try to inspire people to become a change maker, a visionary, and a dreamer. We also advocate a green lifestyle, and we urge people to rethink before they buy. What is my impact on the environment and on my carbon footprint? Reuse the goods, reduce your consumption, recycle as much as possible, and refuse. We have more than 6,000 meditation centers worldwide, and we have rolled out a green, environmental friendly policy for them. We try to equip them with renewable energies. We initiated a plastic-free campaign, and we have a mechanism to offset our carbon emissions of our travels. So we're trying to do a lot, but of course we are spiritual people. We also advocate a plant-based diet, vegetarian or vegan, even better. And there's a study which is clearly indicating that this is one of the biggest contributions towards a better climate if we go on a plant-based diet. Brahma Kumaris is also active in the field of renewable energies, and 25 years ago we have set up a department of renewable energies, and we are actively engaged in the field of research and development of solar technology. On the slide you can see a solar steam cooking system. We installed this in 1999. It can cook 35,000 meals a day, and is probably right now the world's largest solar steam cooking system in operation. And we cook for all these people in our gatherings since 20 years by the power of sun. The plans and design is in the internet. You can come and visit us, and we teach you how to replicate that. The cost feedback is after 6 years, the payback. So it's a very valid solution, very reliable solar technology. We also have more than 500 photovoltaic systems ranging from 1 megawatt to 5 kilowatt. And we are slowly trying to roll out a renewable energy program for our centers. We also promote solar cooking box, a very good gadget in India, very reliable. And the cost right now is $50 in India. The only disadvantage is we have no storage. We also promote solar lantern and have distributed more than 50,000 lanterns in India. They're very reliable, and you might know in India 60,000 villages have no electric connection. So it's a very helpful gadget for people, but it's also environmental friendly. 2 years ago we completed India 1. It's a 1 megawatt solar thermal power station where we got 50% support by the German government, 25 by the Indian government, 25 came from us. And the speciality of this project is that we have thermal storage and can operate literally overnight. Here you can see an overview of the project. It's one of the few thermal power plants operational in the world which has featuring thermal storage, and it's a very practical example what can be done. We also focus on training and education and have conducted more than 50 training seminars for engineers, but we also train the local population in Rajasthan. Rajasthan is a very poor part of India, and we try to empower the people to have a better living. I would like personally thank you very much, Dadi Janki. She's the head of the Brahma Kumaris institution. She's 103 years old, and many times she has helped, she has inspired, and she has given support to the utilization of solar or clean technology. A big thanks to the wise woman in India. And Dadi always says we have to be optimistic. Despite the news from the climate front are not so good right now, the monkey is confident he can catch the elephant. The elephant believes the monkey will catch him. So it's a win-win situation. And we have to visualize a better world because the power of our mind is there. It is very well known, meanwhile, that the inner world and our outer world are connected. And we have to start dreaming and visualizing. We have to become visionaries of a better world. Peace, love, harmony. And there's a lot of evidence in the scientific world about the power of meditation. It helps us, it improves our emotional intelligence, we love ourselves, we love the world, but it helps us also to change habits and awareness. And this is what needed. We all have to change our lifestyle. This is the big crucial point. And meditation helps you to change. So we can say that meditation creates inner resilience, helps to cool the mind, and gives the strength to shift towards a better world. So what we have to do is we need good action, and I'm happy to be at the COP. Many good ideas, many good technologies are presented, but we have to use also the power of our mind, the power of heart. Science and spirituality, science and the heart have to come together. So thank you very much. Here are a couple of our web pages, and I give back to Sonia.
Thank you very much, Golo, for linking our renewable energy and spirituality together. Next speaker will be, both of the next speakers will address the inner dimensions of resilience. And we will start with Sister Jenti. She's the main representative of the Brahma Kumaris to United Nations in Geneva, and she is director for Brahma Kumaris in Europe and Middle East. For over 50 years, Sister Jenti has been an agent of peace and meditation and worldwide. So, Sister Jenti, welcome.
Thank you, Sonia. First of all, a greeting of peace, Om Shanti, to my sisters and brothers. Generally, they say that patterns of behavior are created in the brain up until the age of 7. And the good news is that now they say the brain has plasticity. And so even if you didn't have patterns of resilience from childhood, it's possible to develop them now through meditation. It's interesting just to look back and see how they look at resilience. They say that if in childhood you had a parent or an educator who was well accustomed to listening with love and giving you that support, that child developed a very strong foundation from which they could spring back. And so that was the start of resilience in the child, and it carried on into adult life. And unfortunately, many of us growing up through the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, we haven't had that sort of childhood where there was a person who would constantly listen and support and encourage us. And so today what I can do is to go on a journey inside and practice meditation. And if I can do that, I can develop that capacity to have resilience within myself. So all is not lost. We can still develop it even if we haven't had it up until now. And why it's become so important, and it's being talked about in this conference in various ways, is because the way things are going, and you know more about what's going on in terms of the world than perhaps I do, but all the stats that we're hearing are indicating that things are going to get worse before they get better. But that's my hope, that they will get better. But there is a very chaotic period ahead of us. In India, they're dealing with floods, they're dealing with drought, so the elements that used to cooperate and come at the right seasons isn't happening anymore. In England, it seems every year at Christmas time, in December, we get many, many floods. And so Christmas electricity is lost. And so just imagine how Christmas is going to be celebrated in hundreds and maybe thousands of homes if this happens. So we're all facing climate change to one extent or another. And do I have that capacity within myself to be able to spring back and not have fear, but be stable and clear so that I know which direction to move in and I'm able to support others around me? And what I'm sharing is a very practical thing. Something happens and it impacts me and I get scared. Well, I'm going to need a lot of support at that time. But if I have my own inner reserves and I'm able to maintain stability and I'm able to be free from fear, then I can be an instrument to support and help others around me. And so our places across the world in 120 countries offer spaces where there are sanctuaries. And so wherever anyone is, and if there's been a situation of trauma or without any trauma, they can simply walk in and find space to be quiet, an atmosphere that has already been created and sustained, and so they're able to get a moment of stillness, a moment of calm, a moment of security. I think that all the external things are very important, and Golo has described them very, very clearly. But I think perhaps we haven't been giving enough attention to the inner things that each and every one of us can do. And resilience is the next step. But before that, another thing we can do is to find that source of happiness that lies within. And if I can do that, then it both helps me simplify, but also it helps me become more stable and resilient. And in the simplification, again, you saw various slides. I'm happy that Golo was first so that he was able to show you all the detail of that. But you can see how we can really think about simplifying our needs so that at a time of crisis, I'm not remembering my device, I'm not remembering my friend, but I'm able to turn inside and find the source of strength and turn up above and connect with the one above to draw that power within myself. So essentially, I think that all traditions have taught us this, but today, whether I have faith or maybe I belong to a group that doesn't have faith, it's okay. But each one of us has that capacity to develop our own inner power. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Sister Jenti, to emphasize the need for all of us to develop our own inner resilience. So next speaker is Philip Huggins, Bishop Philip Huggins. He's the president of the National Churches of Australia, National Council of Churches of Australia. And Philip, it is indeed an emergency in Australia at the moment, isn't it? And we're looking forward to hear your sharing on resilience in these times.
Thank you, Sonia. Greetings of peace to you all. Can I just offer three reflections framed by our context here? Firstly, we know our human family have to lift to a quite unprecedented and sustained level of cooperation if we're to meet this climate emergency. And one consequence of knowing that lift is needed has been fresh partnerships, new partnerships. So that's vivid here. This is a new partnership between the Brahma Kumaris and Anglican Church of Australia and wider to try and make our best response to this climate emergency. The second reflection, during this COP, I've been offering my spiritual practice, which has been for many decades praying the Jesus prayer, Jesus have mercy, which I pray constantly. It kind of descends from the top of the head into the heart, and I find the prayer praying in me as much as I pray the prayer. And that kind of gives me a resilience of spiritual practice. And my practice here at this COP has been to kind of wander around, praying my Jesus prayer and meeting people, having conversations, just letting the Spirit guide me as the Spirit guides. So that's the contribution I feel I can make to this COP. And in that context, we're very aware of the incredible demands this week, particularly on the negotiators, the diplomats, and the ministers who carry the knowledge of what's happening to the planet and at the same time have to operate within the framework of their particular jurisdiction. And these next days, we planned a quiet day yesterday for the negotiators and diplomats to give them, just to show them that we were loving them and caring for them, aware of the demands upon them. Some of them who wanted to come in the end couldn't come because their minister arrived from far away and had to brief the minister, or they had more negotiations on Article 6. It's just sort of a little cameo that takes us further into the demands on this community of people. And like the human family itself, the framework of the COP is in its own way riddled by the rather dysfunctional narratives of history, which are all to do with winners and losers and us versus them. One of the negotiators just said it's a bit like a big poker game. He's kind of coming towards the climax at the end of the week, holding back your card, trying to find out what the other party's going to play. These are the familiar narratives of history, winning and losing, and yet somehow in the midst of it all, there's this recognition that humankind have to lift, really have to lift, into a quite sustained and unprecedented level of cooperation to meet this challenge. I carry on my phone that keeps me focused the picture of my 3 grandchildren, all under 5. And for them, as is true for everybody that's here, we keep making what contribution we can, as resilient as we can, in a human family which is, in a way, really barely met, but now must meet at a deeper, more beautiful and more loving level if we're together to meet the needs of this climate emergency. So here we are and on we go. It's a journey. We had the march on Friday. That came to an end, but the journey keeps going. We're buoyant, we're hopeful, and we're also resolved.
Thank you very much, Philip. It's very nice to have the importance of cooperation reminded. So we open up the floor for questions. If there is anyone who'd like to ask a question, please indicate. I had a question to the three panelists. What do you hope to gain in this COP25? Golo and Sister Gente has been to 11 COPs. This is the 11th COP conference, and for Philip, is this the first one? So what is your specific hope for this COP? Anyone who wants to answer, you are welcome.
I find that there are still many people who've never made the connection between the inner and the outer world. And so it's fascinating to meet many, many people like that here at COP. And so when they begin to understand, it doesn't take long that whatever's going on inside creates my thoughts, my feelings, and therefore my actions. And that's my also relationship with not just people, but with matter and the universe, the earth. So when they understand this very simple link of inside out, it's like there's a gleam that comes into their eyes and they begin to see hope for the future. So my hope is that there'll be more people like that I'll come across.
Thank you.
My aim is, my wish for this COP is that heart and the mind, science and spirituality, they come together. I can see now the development over 10 years. In the beginning it was thought we take money, strategy and technology and we fix the climate problem. This was the idea in Copenhagen. And since then we had 10 meetings and the carbon emissions are going up. And it becomes quite clear that we have to have an innovative approach and a holistic solution for the problem. And I can see slowly that there's a shift in awareness and people understand that my heart and my feelings, my emotions, my thoughts, my inner world is part of the solution. And we all have to change our lifestyle, and for this we have to empower ourselves. And I can feel that there is a slow but palpable shift, and people become aware about that connection, and this gives me hopes for the future.
Thank you. You had a question. We'll just take the bishop take on this COP, and then it's you.
So my hope was to be helpful in coming here from Australia and leaving behind areas I know very well, which are ravaged by drought and fire, which is directly related to the climate changes in our country. My hope is that, and this is an amazing gathering, it's my first, as you heard, amazing gathering. It is the vehicle through which we have to achieve the kind of international agreement that brings a halt to the climate emergency. So it's a high purpose. We heard interestingly in recent days that the Paris Agreement, paradoxically, part of the reason it was successful was the juxtaposition between it and the terrible terrorism that happened in Paris around the same time. And somehow it moved people to say, we have to succeed here for the sake of the people of France and Paris who've undergone such suffering. My hope is that somehow the vivid plight, be it people in the Pacific, people in my nation, people many places, of the consequences of climate change might likewise at this COP mean that in the next days a really unprecedented level of cooperation, engagement and outcome is achieved, that the heart and mind might really meet and the dynamic, the energy that is so necessary might find its place in a concrete agreement that's really effective.
Thank you very much. Your question, you have a microphone there.
Hi, this is Alfonso Soria. I'm with Scientists Warning. And a question maybe for Sister Janti. Why do you think it is so hard for people nowadays in this world in which we are living to make this inner connection? Thank you.
Very, very briefly, I think that the world outside has become so attractive and so tempting that our our vision, our sound, all our senses are stimulated. And so we're chasing after attainment and all these external things. It's never been that sort of situation before. And so especially now, it's become that. And so to take a moment and go inside just doesn't occur to most people. And the busyness of all the things externally occupies them so much that then they'll say, I don't have time.
Yes, Philip?
I think children have that. Children have that wisdom, don't you think, little ones? Just before coming here, I was walking beside the beach with my 4-year-old granddaughter. She said to me, as if out of nowhere, everything is connected. I said, yes. And we walked on.
Thank you. Thank you. Sister Yanti spoke about not having time, so I would suggest an unusual thing in a press conference is that we have a small meditation together. And Sister Yanti will guide that. 2 minutes, okay? Yeah, 2-3 minutes you have.
Let's take a moment to go inwards. And as I turn inside, I go deeper and deeper within myself so that the things outside stay out there. And in this journey within, I find that sacred space where there is peace, truth, and love. The goodness is there in every human being. I just turn within and connect with that and send out these vibrations all around. And as we all do this, the power of peace, the power of truth, the power of love multiplies and touches human hearts, the whole of creation, and nature itself. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will close here and I'll make 2 announcements. We have an event tomorrow evening on the 10th in the Colegio Calasanquio here in Madrid, where Golo and Sister Yanti will be speaking on the same topic. It's an outside event, open for everybody. And on Thursday here in the COP venue, in the Chile pavilion, we have an event 1:45, where all the 3 of them will be speaking on the future we want. And it will be a workshop format, so most welcome. And if you want to speak to any one of us, you can do it right after here. So thank you to all of you, to the listeners online, to the panelists, and have a nice day.